Let's just hear that full statement from the Prime Minister, David Cameron. We were reflecting that he has issued an apology for the fact that he employed Andy Coulson. Let's just hear the Prime Minister's statements in full.
Into that. Well, I take full responsibility for employing Andy Coulson. I did so on the basis of undertakings I was given by him about phone hacking, and those turn out not to be the case. I always said that if they turned out to be wrong, I would make a full and frank apology, and I do that today. I'm extremely sorry that I employed him. It was the wrong decision, and I'm very clear about that.
What did he say, and what did you ask him exactly about phone hacking and his knowledge of it?
We covered all this in the Leveson inquiry. I asked him questions about if he knew about phone hacking, and he said that he didn't, and I accepted those assurances, and I gave him the job. I would say that no one has made any complaints about the work that he did for me, either as Leader of the Opposition or indeed here in number 10 Downing Street. But knowing what I now know, and knowing that those assurances weren't right, it was obviously wrong to employ him. I gave someone a second chance, and it turned out to be a bad decision.
When you say that you asked him about phone hacking, that's a very general question. Can you be more specific? Exactly what did you ask him? Did you ask him about whether he knew about Clive Goodman or whether he knew about any phone hacking?
Well, I asked him, and my Chief of Staff asked him whether he knew about phone hacking. We accepted his assurances. That was the basis on which I employed him. I was always clear that I was giving someone a second chance. He had resigned from the News of the World because of what had happened there, the bad things that happened there. I accepted his assurances. I gave him a job. It was a second chance. It turns out to be a bad decision, and I'm extremely sorry about that. But I would say that he didn't, in the work he did for me, before I became Prime Minister, or indeed as Prime Minister, people haven't complained about that work. But still, employing someone when they gave false assurances was the wrong decision. I'm profoundly sorry about that. I always said, if this turned out to be the case, I would not be found wanting in giving a full apology. I'm sorry about that. It was a bad decision. I shouldn't have taken it.
Your critics have said it actually reflects on you because it was a very poor error of judgment. Do you agree that it's a very poor error of judgment, and do you agree that it reflects on you?
Well, I gave someone a second chance, and it turned out to be a bad decision, and I'm very frank about that. I always said I would be. I gave him employment on the terms of the assurances that he gave me. They turned out not to be right, and I said if they turned out not to be right, I'd be very frank and apologise, and I do so today. But I would say it's important, this point, because obviously people will be concerned that he worked for me as Leader of the Opposition. He worked here in number 10 Downing Street. No one, to my knowledge, has made any complaints about the work that he did in either of those two jobs. This all relates back to what he knew when he was editor of the News of the World. I was given assurances that he didn't know about phone hacking. That turns out not to be the case, and I was always clear if that happened, I would apologise, and I do so unreservedly today.
On a human level, do you feel